All right, we took this table out of the mold to see if it was translucent at all, and we have found out that it is not translucent at all, like we wanted. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Guys, today I am back down at Clay's shop. We're checking out the table. We had a few problems, which is unfortunate, but Clay's been down here trying to figure this thing out. What happened?
Well, so let's start over here with the thing that actually worked out. The bench, no problem. It's still got the block of wood that we used to kind of help clamp it down. A couple little bubbles, but it's going to come out when we take the epoxy off to get back down to the wood. The bench worked
just
out.
To be clear, so everybody understands how this is going to work, we are going to take this layer of epoxy off the top of the wood, so it'll be raw wood on the top, correct?
That's correct. So we had some extra epoxy, so we just poured it on. But you put it through, like you either use a router sled with a router bit and flatten it to get that top layer off back down the wood. Met a guy that's got a CNC one. And so it's a big flattening machine, I guess you could say. It's hooked up a computer. It like scans the piece, and you just type in there, you don't want it to go down an eighth of an inch, and it'll just take it off a 16th or an eighth or whatever you want. Each pass as it goes through, and it runs like a big 4-inch bit. So most likely we'll take this bench and this table down there to get it completely flat back down to the wood, all the way across with the epoxy, and then we'll start the sanding process from there. So the bench worked out. Table had some issues. So you can see I've got a hole right here. With what research I did online, we had an exothermal reaction, meaning that it got too hot. In the instructions, it tells you to keep the room between like 70 and 85. I had it at 75 because I've heard horror stories where it's not warm enough and it doesn't cure. I turned it up to 75, left it here, and everything seemed fine when we left. It was perfectly flat. Came the next morning, and you could see some of these white bubbles if you look down this side right here. So this is what that exothermal reaction means. It just cured too quick. A lot of people said I didn't seal the wood, which I did seal the wood with shellac. I'm just saying maybe next time seal it with epoxy. But a lot of guys have said that shellac works, so it was easier for me and to just use the shellac, which I did. And obviously it worked because it worked on the bench. The epoxy was only supposed to go up to 2 inches. We stretched that a little bit to maybe 2 1/8, but not much, not enough to where it would have done this. The other thing that I found out after the fact is that you're supposed to put a fan on it to keep it cool, which doesn't make sense. If you're trying to keep the room warm so it will cure, but you've also got to put a fan on it so it doesn't get too hot, because obviously the chemical reaction, I guess, is really warming things up. I'll probably add some more blocks underneath the next piece, or if I end up having to do this one again, I don't think so. Add some blocks of wood underneath it to pick it up off of these cabinets to try to help a little more airflow to come underneath and help cool it down.
This is why it has taken us so long to get around to pouring this table, because there are about a million things that can go wrong if you do not know exactly what you're doing. And we thought we did know exactly what we were doing, because we've done a ton of research. And
it's the kind of stuff they don't put in the pamphlets or they don't put in the online instructions that concerns me, right? I mean, there's a lot of products out there you can buy, but there's always those random things that you just don't know. If it needs to be on the lower end between 70 and 85, they should tell you that. Hey, if you're pouring up to 2 inches, set the room temperature at 70, put a fan on it.
Yeah.
Definitely was not in instructions, but we're doing that from here on out.
Hopefully we can salvage this. Clay's thinking that we can, because we're gonna actually cut this down a little bit because it's too long as it sits right now for our kitchen. So we're gonna cut it down a little bit so we'll be able to cut off some of these air bubbles and some of these imperfections on the ends. Hopefully it will still turn out.
So we are going to just sand it down and just make sure these bubbles come out. You know, we'll sand down to the wood and make sure that these are gone. And then from there, we'll know that they didn't go that deep, that they're not like further down past the wood, like ½ inch. If that's the case, if they're ½ inch down, then we're cutting this epoxy off. We're gonna sand back to wood and we're gonna try again. So I'm gonna use my belt sander here. I'm gonna put a fresh belt on here, 40 grit. I can make sure we get the direction right. It just slides in here on the side.
All right, we took this table out of the mold to see if it was translucent at all, and we have found out that it is not translucent at all, like we wanted. It went completely black, but I mean, maybe that's not all bad. So we're trying to figure out if we like, this top side's gonna be a lot more work for us. The underneath side, we did flip it and it turned out perfectly. So now we gotta decide how much work we wanna actually put into this thing.
We're gonna flip it all the way over, kind of lay it on its back, have another look at it. We just kind of stood it up and peeked at it for a minute. So let's flip it over and we'll have another look.
All right, so here's the underneath side.
It's like it's still got like the top layer of tape on there.
Definitely needs to be sanded down, but it definitely doesn't have the air bubbles like the other side does.
So this side will be fine. It's got a little bit of like, you know, the original bark of the tree right here. And when we first picked this piece up, I actually thought that we would use this side And then we flipped it over to the other side. Just thought we liked that better. So like I said, this side would be a whole heck of a lot easier. All we'd have to do is plane it down, sand it. But if we're gonna use the other side, it's definitely gonna be some work. We could try the other side. If it doesn't work out, maybe come back to the back side. Those are my thoughts.
At least we have options here. All right, now that we know that we have a few options with the table, we're gonna leave it here for the night and run over to the countertop place because we have to get our countertops picked very soon for our bathroom. We're just about ready to start getting that put in. Clay has the cabinets for the bathroom sitting right over here. So in the next few days, hopefully we can get the cabinet set, get the countertop picked out, and then we will be on our way to having this bathroom complete. All right, we've made it to the slab yard here. We've got a lot of options.
They do have a few running pieces. Quite a few of these are mine, surely not all of them. But I don't know what you have in mind. I'm comfortable with something more white with a little bit of veining. I don't mind like something like that right there. Right?
Looks good. No. Hard pass.
Early 2000s. Obviously the ones that have the sold stickers on it are no longer available.
White's definitely popular right now. There's a ton of white slabs. All right, so you guys have seen the bathroom and our walls are kind of busy. There's a lot going on with the different veins in the tiles. So we're trying to pick something that's not super crazy busy. Probably something more just on the solid white side of things. Like maybe this piece here doesn't have a ton going on that wouldn't like clash with what we have on the walls.
Just a little bit. However, I do think the whites obviously are not going to be the same between the tile and the countertop.
That's true. That might look weird if we do that. So then what?
So then you try to match the black or the...
Plan B.
Right, because there's gray and black on the tile. So you try to match that, which I don't know if I love black countertops. It's like having a black car. If you want to wipe it down every day.
Well, that needs to be done anyways, but...
What's that?
That needs to be done anyways.
No, it's true. It just doesn't... It might be every other day. So, I don't know.
Shoot, I don't know. So Clay is suggesting possibly this one. That might not be bad.
It's the exact opposite of the tile.
It's
Black
true.
base with the white lines.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Okay, I think we've made a decision. I think we're gonna go with this piece right here because it does not have the veins in it. I worry that having the veins in the countertop and on the walls is just gonna be too much. So this one is just more of a solid looking piece, so it will not take away from the walls. I know you're all gonna think we're crazy going with that dark color on the countertops, but it is the best option because we do not wanna get a white that's gonna clash with the tile that's already on the back wall. Actually, most likely that's what will happen if we do go with a white. They just won't match up, and that's not gonna look good. So going with a darker, solid countertop is going to be by far the best option.
Guys, we're just getting home from the shop and Owen is getting ready to go to baseball tryouts. This is his last year being able to play on City League. After that, you got to just play on the high school teams. Owen here is getting pumped up. He is also getting prepped with a half gallon of milk in this giant glass. Dude, what's the plan today? Are you guys like, all of your friends are gonna play like, you know, some play good, some play bad? That's how they pick the teams. You guys gonna strategize, try to all get on the same team, or what are you guys thinking?
I'm just gonna go out there and play. And hopefully my friend's dad picks me up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Owen's acting like they don't have a strategy, but he wants to get on a team with all of his friends, and typically they pick all the good, fast kids first, and he's had a hard time getting on the same team, so hopefully this is the year.
Claire and Carmen have been begging to get their Apple Watches set up with their own phone numbers and stuff like that, so we are gonna take them today to get that figured out. They've been waiting very patiently because it is like the worst thing for me. I hate going into Verizon and sitting there waiting, getting someone to help us. I hate going through all that, so we're gonna go do that really fast with the girls. Pop sockets. Those are still a thing.
Yeah.
Yes, Mom. Mine has one.
Guys, we are just getting back from Verizon. We spent 3 hours in there. It was insane. The girls are very patient. Terry took them to get a bite to eat there for a minute, but it was just mind-blowing that we were in there that long. And the worst part is we have 2 watches that still do not work. Claire's watch got connected, got a phone number. We tried it, tried to call my phone, would not go through. There was something wrong with it. Guy said it was defective. And then Carmen's, as we were trying to like connect it to the phone, like through the update process or whatever that had to go through, it kept getting stuck at the point where you had to decide if it was going on the left hand or right hand. The phone would freeze and you could no longer move forward in the installation process to get the watch hooked up or whatever they were doing. So it did it twice, but we were in there 3 hours, wasted half our day trying to get this thing solved. But we're gonna have to reach out to Apple and get these things like replaced under the warranty program. We got Claire's watch last year on her birthday in April, so she's had like, it's been an entire year almost without having a watch. So Claire, hopefully by your next birthday, we'll have you a watch that actually calls out. How cool would that be?
You've got 2 months.
Got 2 months. All right, well, we'll reach out to Apple and see how quick they are. Carmen is definitely not happy about hers not working, but such is life.
All right guys, we are super excited about the table. Even though the top part of it did not turn out the way we wanted it to, the underneath side looks good enough. I think we could live with that if we can't get the other side to work out, or even if we don't want to spend the time on it.
I'm gonna make it work out. I've just decided, I've done a little more research, and being that dark black color, we can't just like cut out the bubbles and just refill it again, sand it back down. So I'm gonna fix it. I'm not gonna waste the epoxy, and we're just gonna live with it.
Yeah, we're gonna get the legs ordered. We have chosen some very modern type legs that are gonna go underneath it, and then we gotta get chairs and be ready to move in.
It's still a whole process. Another year, we'll have another update on this table. But hopefully not. Hopefully like within about a month, we'll have the legs underneath it, and
Hopefully
we'll start
it's not another year before our bathroom is completed, because that needs to be done ASAP.
I'm saying 1 month, we'll have a table, we'll have the hall bathroom working again. So now that I put a deadline on it, I've said it on camera, so we gotta stick to it. Guys, we appreciate you watching. We love you, and we'll see you guys back here tomorrow.